This is your Prefessional guide for the second wing of the Venomous Abyss raid. The video is split into two parts. Part 1 covers the general mechanics, Part 2 focuses on role-specific duties. Grab your free raid cheat sheets using the link down in the pinned comment. Like and subscribe for more WoW content. Let's go. The Entombed Sentinels. This is a single phase fight with a brief intermission when the bosses reach 100 energy. The raid needs to be split in half as the bosses have to be separated and they each apply their own stacking debuff. The raid will switch sides after each intermission. DPS need to ensure that both bosses are cleaved down evenly before the intermission triggers as the lower boss heals to match the higher HP boss. You're going to list on pool. First, let's talk positioning. Olatek's dominance triggers if the bosses are within 40 yards of each other. This shields them, reducing all damage taken by 99%. The bosses also apply Mark of Acid or Mark of Blood to any player that's within 40 yards of them. This deals damage every 2 seconds, stacks every 5 seconds, and lasts for 44 seconds. You can tank them near each of the colored alcoves on the side of the room. Now let's talk about each of their abilities. Breath of Olatek. This is the Green Sentinel. It will spawn in a giant slime with venom coagulation. This ad cannot be tanked. It just wanders around the room and deals pulsing raid damage every 3 seconds until it's defeated. So DPS are going to need to quickly swap over and focus this guy down. Toxic Droplets is going to spawn a bunch of little venom drops around the room. These erupt after 16 seconds, dealing massive raid damage. Pop a defensive and step on a couple to remove them. As a note, these also appear on the blood side. Empowering Slam is the tank mechanic. This deals physical damage and applies a stacking debuff that increases physical damage taken by 15%. This resets when the boss hits a new target. The Blood of Olatek. This is the Red Sentinel. Unstable Miasma is going to target a player with a soak circle. Everyone needs to stack in for this. It applies a clinging Merc dot, and this dot will stack on players if there are too few soaking. Multiple applications of this can be very deadly. Blighted Blood is an 18-second dot that's put on random players. This needs to be dispelled. Blood Venom is the tank mechanic. This deals physical damage and applies a 40-second shadow dot that stacks. At 100 energy, both Sentinels will rush together to cast Vitriolic Stasis. Both bosses will become immune to damage, and the lesser HP Sentinel will begin healing until it matches its partner. This is why it's super important for the bosses to remain close in HP. At the same time, every player will be infected with Helical Toxins. This is shown by 4 dots appearing above your character. Some orbs will be green, and some will be red. You must reach exactly 4 green orbs with another player to cancel this toxin out. If you do not balance within 28 seconds, you'll explode, dealing some really nasty damage to the raid. A few of these can mean a wipe. So let's say you have 1 green orb and 3 red orbs. You must now find another player who has 3 green orbs and 1 red orb. Once you run into each other, this will give you both 4 green orbs, canceling out the toxin and preventing you both from exploding. You can add toxins multiple times, but this is going to result in mismatched pairs and some of you are going to die. So say you have 1 green and run into someone with 2 greens, now you both have 3 greens and have to find one more person with only 1 green. Also, if you combine with someone and have more than 4 green orbs, you will both explode. This is pretty simple math, so it's easy, right? The intermission lasts for 30 seconds or until all toxins are balanced. The sides will swap bosses and repeat phase 1. Role-specific duties. Tanks, keep the Sentinels separated. Swap after each intermission. Healers, dispel the blighted blood targets. The big Venom ad does pulsing raid damage until it's defeated, and expect ramping damage until the intermission. DPS, kill the giant Venom slime ASAP. Help soak the unstable miasma, and pop a defensive and step on a couple of the toxic droplets before they explode. Vashnik the Malignant. This is a single phase fight where the raid will be rotating around the room, activating different fountains. There are 3 fountains in each corner, a blood, a shadow, and a flame. The boss activates 2 fountains at a time. Each fountain spawns different ads that have to be defeated before they reach the center pool, and the boss also gets a special ability depending on which fountains are active. You're going to lust on pool. Let's cover the fountains mechanics first. When the boss reaches 100 energy, he uses Imbibe, which activates the 2 closest fountains to him. Each activated fountain deals a burst of raid damage, spawns its own set of ads, and applies a stackable buff that goes onto the boss and lasts for 90 seconds. Each stack of that buff also increases the activated fountain's raid damage by 200% and increases that fountain's ad's HP by 50%. So the raid will continuously rotate around the room, activating a new fountain with each imbibe. Keep in mind that because you are always activating 2 fountains, one of them will always be empowered with 2 buff stacks. If any of these ads reach the center pool, it deals a burst of raid damage and applies a 30-second stackable dot. Too many of those and it's a wipe. The Blood Fountain. This spawns in a big ad that is immune to CC. It moves slow, and when it's defeated, it splits in half. Keep killing them until they stop splitting. As a note, once the big guy splits into the smaller ads, they can be CC'd. The boss gains the Blood Infusion buff, which gives him the Siphoning Infection ability. This is a leeching healing absorb that's placed onto random players. It's shown by a red ring. If everyone nearby groups up into this, you can clear it pretty quickly. The Shadow Fountain. This spawns in a group of ads that burst when destroyed, sending out a bunch of circles that need to be avoided. The boss gains the Shadow Infusion buff, which gives him the Stygian Infection ability. This is another healing absorb, but this has to be cleared by the healers. And once it expires, it leaves exploding circles under your feet, so space out. The Flame Fountain. This spawns in a couple of burning venoms that deal raid damage every 3 seconds. The boss gains the Flame Infusion buff, which gives him the Exploding Infection ability. This marks random players with a fire effect. When it's dispelled, it deals a burst of raid damage, so stagger these dispels to manage the damage easier. Now let's cover the rest of the boss's abilities. Plague Froth. This marks a few players with an 8-second dot, shown by a green effect. Once it expires, it sends out plague waves in the direction of that green effect, so make sure you're spaced out to not send the waves through the raid. Dripping Fangs is the Tank Buster. This deals massive physical damage and applies a stacking damage increase debuff that lasts for 32 seconds, so you'll be swapping after each hit. Role-specific duties. Tanks. Rotate the boss around the room to evenly distribute the infusion buffs. Swap after each Dripping Fangs, and try to keep the boss near the ads for that cleave. Healers. Imbibe deals a burst of raid damage, and the Toxic Vapor dot stacks with each cast. The Shadow Fountain puts out a bunch of healing absorbs. The Flame Fountain deals pulsing raid damage, and make sure you're staggering the Exploding Infection dispels. DPS. The ads are the top priority. Knock them back and kill them before they reach the center. When the Blood Fountain's active, stack on top of players with a red circle, and actively use your defenses to help out the healers. Congratulations, you're now a Prefessional raider. If this guide helped you, hit that thumbs up and subscribe for more WoW content. A huge shout out to these channel members that are on the screen. If you want early ad-free access to my videos, click that join button down below. Snag yourself some Prefessional merch. All my links are down in the description. Check out these other videos that are now popping up on the screen, and I'll see you in the next one.